In this video, you will learn how to add providers into Precizion. A provider in Precizion is anyone who has an appointment scheduled with them, who treats patients, or performs services that are billed. Before someone can be entered into Precizion as a provider, they must first be entered as a user, and a billing entity must be created for them. If you are unsure how to accomplish these two things, please review the Users and Billing Entities training videos. Once you have created a user and billing entity for the person you wish to add as a provider, select the administration icon. Now select the Provider button. The provider screen will open. All the providers currently set up in Precizion will be displayed on the left side of the window. To add a new provider, select the Add button at the bottom of the screen, which will open the Add Provider window. From the drop-down by the provider's logon account, select the provider's username from the menu. If the provider is not on the list, you have not entered them as a user in the system. You must cancel out of the provider window and enter them as a user before they can be entered as a provider. Enter the provider's name in the Display As field exactly as you wish it to print on reports. The phone number, cell phone number, fax number, and provider email fields are all optional. These would be the provider's personal information and are only used so the staff can contact the provider. From the drop-down, select the time in minutes that the provider would like the patient to be considered late after. For example, if I've selected 15 minutes and my patient is scheduled at 11 o'clock, at 11:15 they will be considered late. Select the provider's billing entity from the Billing Entity drop-down. If you wish for this provider to only view the patients assigned to this provider, place a check in the box next to Only View Assigned Patients. A patient is assigned to a provider when they are entered into Precizion. If the Only View Assigned Patients box is left unchecked, this provider will be able to view all patients in Precizion. Now that you have completed the General tab, select the Hours tab. This is where you enter the provider's schedule. The schedule entered here will display on the appointment screen and will determine when appointments for this provider can be scheduled. If someone attempts to schedule an appointment for a time that the provider is not scheduled to be in the clinic, they will receive a warning message letting them know the provider is not scheduled and be asked if they are sure they want to schedule the appointment. If there are any days of the week where the provider works identical hours, check those days. For example, if the provider will work identical hours on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, check those boxes. Once you have selected those days that the hours will be the same, select the Edit button. The Edit Schedule window will open. At the bottom, select the Start Time. In the next field, enter the time the provider leaves for their lunch break, or for the end of the day if this is only a half day. You should select the actual time the provider leaves. Precizion knows that if the provider is leaving at 12 and your appointment increments are 15 minutes, the last appointment available to be scheduled will be 11:45. Once you have entered your first set of times, select the Add button. They are now displayed on the screen. Now you can enter the next session after lunch and then select Add. Now both of the time slots are listed on the screen. Select the Save button. You are now back at the Edit Provider screen and you can see the hours for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday have been set. To enter the provider's hours for Tuesday, the first thing we must do is uncheck the boxes for editing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now select Tuesday and Thursday checkboxes and select the Edit button. The Edit Schedule will open. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, you may only work half days, so I only need to enter one set of times. Select the times you wish to set for those days, then select the Add button. Once you have added all the times you want for that provider, select the Save button. When a provider has an exception to their regular weekly schedule, you can enter it into Precizion. Select the Exception Schedule tab. At the bottom, enter the reason for the exception. Indicate whether the provider will be out of the office or if the provider will be in the office on a day they do not normally work. Enter the first date the provider will be gone. Then select the last date the provider will be gone. If the provider will be gone only a portion of the day, highlight the time and enter the time the provider's exception will be starting. If you want to allow an override of this exception, place a check in the box below Allow Override. For example, If the provider will be on vacation and will be out of town, we will not check that box. Once the information has been entered incorrectly, select the Add button. The exception displays at the top of the screen. Be sure to add all holidays into Precizion so you won't accidentally schedule patients when you are not in the office. Now select the Calendar Sync tab. You can set up Precizion to synchronize a provider's schedule with their Google Calendar. Place a check in the box to publish these providers' appointments to their Google Calendar. Enter the email address and password associated with this calendar. All appointments for this provider will now be synchronized with their Google Calendar. Next, select the Signature tab. This tab will allow you to capture or import a signature for the provider to use with documentation templates. If you do not have a signature pad to capture the signature, you can import an image file of the signature. If you do not wish to save a signature in Precizion, simply select Do Not Use a Signature. The final tab is SOAP Copying. This tab determines if SOAP notes are copied from one visit to the next. If you do not wish for the SOAP notes to copy from the last visit, simply remove the check mark from the box next to each area you do not wish to be copied. Once you have completed entering all the provider's information, select the Save button. The provider has now been added into Precizion. If you need to edit a provider, highlight that provider from the list and select the Edit button. From the Edit Provider window, you can edit any data you wish for that provider. Once you have made the desired changes, select the Save button. A provider in Precizion may not be deleted, but they may be inactivated. To inactivate a provider, select the provider from the list and select the Inactivate button. You will notice the provider's name will change to red and a line will be placed through it, indicating the provider is no longer active. To reactivate a provider, select their name from the list and select Activate. The provider's name no longer has a line through it, indicating the provider is active. Once you have added all the providers in the system, select the black X at the top right to exit out of the provider's window. This concludes the video on how to add and set up a provider in Precizion.